Hey everybody, Dylan here, and just off the bat, I can't promise this on a weekly basis, but my logic for this right at this moment is that I've missed out on a lot of pro wrestling. Oh, by the way, if you want to skip over this and actually go to the review, I'm going to timestamp everything, so just look for the timestamp. But yeah, I've missed a lot in pro wrestling since the last review. Just to put some things into perspective, at least WWE-wise, the Judgment Day has formed since the last time I've done it, and questionably have started to disband, but that's more on that later. The bloodline, yeah, they've done their thing, and I think are getting to the end of their story. That whole thing has happened since my last review, I'm pretty sure, but hey, at least Roman Reigns has still been the champion. At least that hasn't changed. You know, there's a lot of things outside of WWE that's happened also I could list here too, but between, again, not keeping up with things and this intro's been long enough, let me just summarize it by saying things have happened. The point of this little tirade before the episode is that my plan from this review onward, asterisk card is subject to change, is that every day an episode's supposed to air. So, Monday for Raw, Wednesday for Dynamite, right now Friday for SmackDown, Rampage, etc., etc. On the day it's supposed to air, I'm going to do the previous week's Raw, SmackDown, etc. On the day the day after it airs, Saturday for SmackDown, Rampage, etc., Tuesday for Raw, and so on and such. On the day after, whatever the newest episode is, I'm going to upload on that day. So, tomorrow, theoretically, I'm going to upload tonight's Raw, and so on and such. Yeah, the thing that's been holding me off on that is not having cable, but I finally have cable, so unless I just get burnt out or get too stressed out from in real life stuff and it prevents me from uploading, I should stick to that. And of course, I've been kind of sloppy at it for the past couple of weeks, but every Wednesday there should be a new gameplay, whether it's Road to Elite or WWE 2K22 or later on 23 or me just going back and playing the games, what have you. It should be uploaded every Wednesday, should be gameplay day. And who knows, maybe I'll go back to doing daily news eventually. Yeah, it's weird that I'm doing this and adding more stress into my life, but also I figured so this channel could have some form of continuity. Plus also I haven't really watched anything except for highlights since I've been out of wrestling, so whenever the last video was uploaded. So as long as my mental health stays good, and as long as this doesn't get too stressful, that's the plan going forward. So yeah, just to summarize real quick, because this is business at the end of the day, Monday should have the previous week's Raw, or I guess after this week it'll have 2 weeks ago and then 3 weeks and then so forth. That should be on Mondays. Tuesdays should have the current episode of Raw. Wednesdays should be gameplay, whether it's Road to Elite or any WWE game or what have you. Thursdays should have a review of Dynamite. Fridays should have the previous week's SmackDown, Collision. No, Collision would be Saturdays, right? Yeah, Collision's uploaded on Saturday. So, Rampage is what I meant to say. So, SmackDown, Rampage on Fridays. Saturday have the newest episode of the newest episode of SmackDown and Rampage, as well as for 3 weeks it'll have the older episode of Collision, and then Sunday should have pay-per-views and the newest episodes of Collision uploaded. So you may ask hey Dylan, you're not uploading daily as it is, why are you deciding to do this? Well, it's like I said, card is subject to change. I could just say I'm going to do this and then never do it, but I figured to kind of get an engagement going on this channel, I figured daily uploads maybe the way to do it. Who knows? Again, might not stick to this, but that's my plan as of this moment of time. There's also things that could get in the way, like I said, like one-off events or premium live events being on Saturdays. That could like throw off the schedule going forward. But yeah, that's my plan as of this moment. Alrighty, now that all that's out of the way, like 5 minutes later, let's get into the show. So the show kicks off with an in-memory card, I forgot what they're technically called, but to Darren Drozdov, which, by the way, Darren Drozdov is the coolest effing, like, shoot name possible. He was from 1969 to 2023. He was 54 and died of natural causes. You know, it's honestly a shame. Like, I was kind of a Headbangers fan in my little bits that I've gone back and watched, like, their matches, you know, just casually, because I got into wrestling in, like, 2004, give or take, because that was, like, little child Dylan watching wrestling, so I didn't comprehend fully it. But as time's gone on, I've gone back and watched, like, the highlights of, like, the big moments you need to watch as a wrestling fan from like the 90s and the 80s WWF at least. So I've seen the occasional, you know, Headbangers match here and there, and of course have unfortunately heard about the incident. I'll just say that. But yeah, it's a shame I didn't get to watch more of him, just either growing up or just in general. Who knows, maybe this going back 1 week thing, maybe it'll spill into the 90s and so on. So who knows, maybe I'll get to right that wrong eventually. So like I said, I probably watched them like casually, like, oh hey, there's a Headbangers match randomly, but I can't, no disrespect to the talent, but I can't like tell you a memorable Headbangers moment. And of course for draws, there's the like, oh he's got a puke, like Vince call. But I feel like he's the type of talent, maybe just from the little bits I remembered, that that would be given something and he would put his all into it. So that's all you can really ask from talent, right? Just to end this little in memory moment, I guess is a way to word it. I hope wherever you're at now, Draws, that you're at peace and you're just enjoying wherever you are and living your best life now. Thank you for entertaining many people, and you fulfilled your purpose in life tremendously from the sounds of it. After that, they have the opener with Roman Reigns yelling, "Acknowledge me," by the way. I never knew this. Maybe they added that in since the last time I watched about a year ago, but I was just not paying attention to the opener because it's the same opener, and I heard like the "woo if you smell," and then I just hear out of nowhere just "acknowledge me." I'm like, oh, wait a minute, Roman, when are you when did you get in here? Don't know if that's like a new thing starting this week or if that's been there again, but hey. Alright, after that they have a highlight of Money in the Bank, and this is the Raw after pay-per-view / premium live event, so they're going to do this frequently. My ruling on that, in case you're new here, by the way, God, thank you for sitting through 10 minutes of rambling. In case you're new here or you need a refresher, my rule on pay-per-views is that if it affects the story on the episode, like the actual, like, due to thing A happening at the pay-per-view, it's affecting what's happening in that match, I'll go over it, kind of skim over it, but for the most part, I'm not going to mention anything that happened at the pay-per-view because I'm going to do a pay-per-view / premium live event, and I'm going to keep on calling them pay-per-view, but I mean PLEs. But yeah, I'm going to eventually do reviews of those, so just wait. After that recap, Kevin Patrick welcomes you to Monday Night Raw from Baltimore, Maryland this week as World Heavyweight Champion Seth freaking Rollins comes out to a crazy-ass crowd. I enjoy this is what got me kind of wanting to do a review again, because I've seen all the Seth Rollins segments recently, and that crowd has been crazy for him. I don't know if like attendance has gone up because it's a good time for wrestling right now, or what, but that crowd has been losing their shit for Seth recently. They serenade him with like, whoa, for like a solid like 2 minutes after his music's off, and then he welcomes everybody to Monday Night Raw and tells everybody that he is Seth freaking Rollins. And then the crowd goes back singing for a little bit. He does a rundown of Money in the Bank, you know, kind of like how they've been doing recently for the show after PLEs, where they're like, hey, this is what happened in case you missed it, and this is how it kind of ties into my character, I guess. And then he says SummerSlam's only 5 weeks away, which, God, that shocked me. And he didn't get to say too much more because Cody Rhodes, with finally a new design to his jacket, comes out. I love that old jacket, but God, he's had that since AEW. Like, please, sir, please get a new jacket. Alright, anyway, I just really wanted to highlight this crowd because they are vocal tonight. Cody hands his belt to a kid as he's coming out. I'm not sure if that was like a plant or a legitimate, just like Cody being a babyface. But either way, I appreciate pure white meat baby faces being baby faces, you know? Alright, anyways, Cody gets in the ring, and they have a stare down for a second because they've had a freaking crazy ass rivalry in the past. Cody almost does his bit where he's like, so, what do you want to talk about? But like halfway through that statement, Brock's music comes on and cuts him off, and Cody and him have a big ass brawl. It goes like from Cody running to the ramp to get Brock, and Brock takes the advantage, then Brock throws Cody into the ring, and as Brock is getting into the ring, Cody gets his momentum back until they tease Brock hitting the F5, and then Cody escapes it and hits him with the Cody Cutter that, God, Brock jumps for. I love whenever Brock's really feeling something, he will sell for you. Brock rolls out of the ring, and we end with Brock retreating as Cody stands tall right in the middle of the ring. It fades to a commercial, and that ends that part of this segment. I know there's been a lot of interruptions, but I kind of gotta like introduce or get you back into like understanding how I run it, even though it's not that complicated. So, because I'm a cynical wrestling fan, like every reviewer that's out there, and I've never stepped foot into a wrestling ring, I think I have a right to judge a wrestling match and or promos via a star rating. So, I just want to say off the bat, I will never take my star rating seriously. The rules for my star rating, including on this episode, will change. But like, here's my opinion, right? So, this is what I kind of sort of am basing my star ratings off of. So like, if it's a 5-star match, it has to be like a Kenny versus Ospreay, you know, like a match of the year. Like, holy shit, how did they get this far? If it's 4.5 stars, it has to be like so close to 5 stars, but there was that one thing I wasn't feeling, or like that one moment in time that I'm just like, maybe that cost them. If it's 4 stars, it's like a stellar match, like the best of the best of the best, you know, but it's missing that little edge to just send it right over to that 5-star valley. If it's 3.5 stars, I think it was like just slightly above good, you know, like it was great. Let's go with great. That's good terminology. It's slightly above good. If it's 3 stars, I think it's just good, you know, nothing offensive. It got you going into the next week from this week, and it advanced the feud, whatever. If it's 2.5 stars, that's where we're starting to be like, this could be a whole lot better. Come on now. 2 stars, it was bad. 1.5 stars, it was bad, but at least they tried to give it something. At 0.5 star, it has to be like the drizzling shits, you know. And if it's not even like rated, ranked, however you want to word it, it's either like a segment that I'm just not gonna rank, or it was so bad I skipped through like 3/4 of it. Which I also want to tackle that. I'm probably going to be skipping some matches going forward. I didn't on this one, but that doesn't mean that all of them are going to be the drizzling shits. It just means like I understand their formula, and once how do I word it? When you've been out of wrestling for a little bit, it's fun to come back to WWE and watch the formula as you understand it. Like, for example, later on tonight, they have the Money in the Bank winner comes up to the champion and says, I can cash in on you at any time. And the champion's like, oh, I'd like to see you try. But like moments like that where you're like, it's the same thing they've been doing for 4 years with the winner. Like, once you haven't watched it for a while, moments like that are like, I remember that. That's refreshing. But if you watch it on a week-to-week basis, I'm sure it's just like, here we go again, same promo. Anyway, back to the review, right? I feel like for that segment, because I'm a huge Cody fan and because I'm a huge Brock fan, shout out to Ask Brocky, an old series I had. That was a deep cut just for me. And the crowd seemed to be like really behind them. I'm gonna rate this like 3.5, lingering on 4 stars. I feel it did a solid job continuing like Cody versus Brock. It spilled over into another segment, which I'll get into that in a second. And that kind of reminds me of like the Attitude Era style that I used to enjoy, where like anything could happen and like things aligned into each other, you know what I mean? So I enjoy when the show feels like one show instead of here's your segment, here's your segment, here's your segment, back to the ring, here's your segment, and so on, you know? What I don't understand is why someone so popular always has to start off the show. Like, I get it in the sense of like ratings. It's a good way to like get the crowd excited and get them to go crazy throughout the show. Plus, it's a good way for people to tune in with a very familiar face that is hot in that case. I just don't get it from like the wrestling sense. But once again, that I'm just a cynical wrestling fan. That's my one complaint, I think. And I actually have another one. Why was Cody out there? Was it, maybe I'm just not understanding the story and I'm just dumb, but was it because they were going to like tease that, oh, he's challenging Seth for the title, and then it's just a swerve? Or is that the only way they could like logically think about Cody and Brock like going against each other? Because I got a case scenario for you. What if like Cody's like walking backstage, doing his thing, smiling at people, greeting his fellow wrestlers, like handshaking them, whatever, and then like, you know, Brock sneak attacks him from behind and no one saw it coming? Or like, what if Cody's in the ring just shooting a promo and then a car arrives and oh my god, it's Brock, and Cody runs to the back, you know, something like that. But what they did wasn't that bad anyway. I'm just, again, the cynical wrestling fan. I know this is going to lead to a SummerSlam challenge, so I'm down for Cody versus Brock at SummerSlam. That sounds great. Alright, so back to the action at hand. Seth isn't finished in the ring speaking, so I guess he's trying to say like he's looking forward to his next challenger when when Judgment Day without Finn comes out. Rhea says Judgment Day is here and everyone wants to see them take over the show. Seth calls out the lack of Finn with them, and they have a back and forth about Finn until Damian tells him not to be concerned with Judgment Day business, but to be concerned with his, with this, holds up Money in the Bank briefcase. Then he does the normal Money in the Bank promo where they remind everybody that he can cash in at any time, and who knows, maybe after Priest's match with Nakamura, he might just cash in. Seth says in order to do that he has to defeat the champ, but he feels fresh, unlike Priest, who will be in a match, so he won't feel fresh afterwards. After some back and forth mind games and the crowd drowning out Priest with Seth's chant, Priest says someone is standing next to him. Sorry. Let me try that again. Priest says someone standing next to him may want to fight Seth. It's alluded to, like, they look at Rhea like, oh, hey, are they talking about Rhea versus Seth tonight? But then she's like, oh, hey, I have a women's world title match against Natalya. And after playing to the crowd some to get them to boo Dom so he can't speak, like, you know, Dom gets the mic, he's like, and the crowd just boo. But after that happens for a little bit, Rhea grabs the mic and challenges, issues a challenge to Seth for Dom. Seth laughs it off, saying he can see through their trap, but if the crowd wants him to fight, then he will. So he asks him, he's like, hey, do you all want to see me go against Dom tonight? And the crowd's like, yeah. So we got Seth versus Dom for the main event, and that's the end of this segment. Once again, we, off the bat, 2 3.5 star segments. It was like a pretty average promo, but it wasn't meant to be anything special, you know? Like, it was just meant to advance the show for the night, while also giving people that, like, ooh, will Priest cash in? Will he damage Seth before the match? Is this actually a trap? Like, what's going on? So that way they'll watch later on and try to figure out, like, what's going on, you know? We then transition backstage to Nakamura making his way to the ring. His Priest's already in it, and after the commercial, they have their match. The gripe I have off the bat that's going to lower my ranking on this is that we come back from commercial break, and Nakamura's entrance is already like halfway done. Like, what happened to Shinsuke being a star, man? This guy used to, like, they would wait for commercials and everybody would lose their shit. The lights would flash, you know, like, he would time the, like, woo, and then he drops. That's the best way I can describe that spot. But now he just seems like another Joe Schmo. Once again, like, angry wrestling fan aside, I'm not trying to get that over. I just am very cynical and very angry. I know what I want in wrestling. They have a pretty stellar match overall, though, in my opinion. Maybe in the future, like, for wrestling matches, I'll give, like, what's the word I'm looking for? A play-by-play. But for now, I'm just going to highlight, like, the story beats of it, or, like, big moments of it, and who wins, and how the finish goes down. So, in my opinion, this felt like a squash match because Priest ended up winning it, and he looked pretty dominant overall. It's a shame. I remember when Shinsuke returned recently. I say recently, I think it was like a month or two, but, you know. I was like, maybe they're going to put Shinsuke back into, like, NXT Shinsuke, you know, the dominant motherfucker that would beat the shit out of people. But no, this just proves he's far away from the NXT Shinsuke as freaking possible. I would give this 3.5 stars because, again, wasn't offensive, was a great squash match. Now, who am I kidding? I would give this 3 stars. But I'm going to be honest with you. That entrance thing was enough to deduct half a star. So I don't want to give them 2.5 stars because they did a great job. But that production is also something I'm going to rank on these. You know, I don't think I did a good job explaining it, but I'm going to base my judgment upon, like, the promo, the match itself, if it matters, the characters, the story being told in the match, production, even though they don't have anything to do with that. That's the overall, like, viewing experience for me. Like, what the entrances, by the way, that is also part of my ranking. So I have to knock a star off just for that a half a star off just for that Shinsuke moment. Like, him not getting his full entrance and him just being a job guy. So I hate to say it, 2.5 stars, man. Also, maybe it's just me, but I really feel like they didn't have any chemistry, like, when they were fighting against each other, and I feel like they got heated with each other because they had a sloppy spot where the Priest just dropped Nakamura on the corner of the barricade. Like, you can tell he tried to keep him safe when he was dropping him, but it just looked very sloppy. Yeah, though, to come back and be positive on the match, Nakamura was entertaining and Priest looked strong, so I guess in that point of the story, they delivered on what they were going for. But yeah, Priest ended up winning after a reversal sequence led him to doing a modified clothesline. I don't know how else to describe it. Into the south side of heaven. Like I said, 2.5 stars just because of that commercial. I'm sorry. Speaking of commercial, that entrance. Speaking of commercial, though, they fade to commercial and then come back. And they're plugging Money in the Bank things, which led us, yeah, to the end of the women's Money in the Bank and the tag team match between Ronda, Shayna, and Liv and Raquel. Which, by the way, I'm happy at the results of that. That's all I'll say. Big Liv Morgan stan. So, good on them. Good on them. Hopefully she can get her momentum back. I think that injury kind of took some away. Which is a shame. But she can do it. She can do it. Anyway, Ronda Rousey comes out and she starts to speak. But Shayna immediately cuts her off and tells her that everyone's tired of hearing her speak. Ronda says, alright, fine, and just give me an explanation. And Shayna gets pissed off and metaphorically rips her a new one, saying the only thing that she owes anyone is an apology for getting Ronda into the business. She then delivers possibly the promo of the fucking night, in my opinion. Saying she busted her ass to get here while Ronda was handed everything, was gifted everything, like a WrestleMania spot. She says she's the only person here who can shut Ronda up, and then Ronda kicks her off the ropes, and they get into a big brawl. Ronda tries to put her into a sleeper, but Shayna reverses everything Ronda gives her, basically. She then knees her into the head. She knees her like Ronda's in the ropes, and Shayna gives her like a running knee to end the segment. I just want to say, like, 10 out of 10. This is the coolest Shayna Baszler has felt since like NXT Shayna. It's awesome that Ronda has protected her character so much that it's actually kind of believable that, oh shit, wait, everybody else you've kind of had their number, but now there's somebody who can actually challenge you. Freaking 4 stars. 4 stars just for that promo. Like, it made me feel something, and it's been a while since like any promo has made me just been like, holy shit, I have to see what happens next. And I'm gonna metaphorically bet you all my V-Bucks that they're gonna screw it up somehow tonight. I hope not, but I can almost guarantee you that. Alright, after that we go to commercial and come back to Becky Lynch coming out, and she explains that it sucks that she lost Money in the Bank, but she's going to move on. And Trish, however, according to her, can't move past her. So she wants to end it with her tonight and calls out Trish to fight. I think like whoever did the production was late to the queue, so I'm maybe thinking about deducting a little star on that just because of you. But I don't know, maybe I'm gonna forgive. But her and Zoe Starks come out. Recently, Trish has been kind of returning or giving throwbacks to like OG Trish, between coming out with like, I think she came out with a trench coat and the cowboy hat one time, and like early 2000s Trish attire kinda, and then of course she's worn like the black jumpsuit with like the pink around it, and it says like thank you Trish on it now, so it's been modified a little bit. There's just stuff like that. So, you know what my favorite thing that was an accident that ended up coming back was? The fucking face mask. I used to love when Trish came out with that as a child, and I understand she's only doing it for like medical reasons, because I think she suffered a legitimate like fracture. But yeah, child me used to love that, because I was like, oh god, she's so despicable, like saying all this shit and not being able to wrestle. Come on now, there's people, child me didn't know how serious injuries are, but I was like, there's people at the time with like busted up ribs and this, that, and other, and they're wrestling, and you won't wrestle just because your nose is broken, you despicable heel. And that's part of the reason why I love heels. Because if they can make like you feel that, then you're hooked onto any story. Anyway, she came out and said she can't wrestle due to her injury. So when Becky asks for... Becky then is just like, oh, well, hey, Starks can wrestle me, right? So Trish blows it off, and then Becky tries to instigate, saying that Trish thinks that she's better than Zoe, and Trish says that due to her tutelage, Zoe will maybe one day become as great, if not better, than Trish is, but she's not ready. Becky then calls BS on how great she is, claiming the only reason that she won against Lynch was because of Stark's help, and maybe that Trish isn't that great after all. They have some more back and forth, and after instigating for a little bit, Trish says that Zoe is going to whoop Becky. They walk down the ramp, almost go to the ring. Trish puts her hand in front of Zoe, and it's like, next week, because she has a medical appointment and wants to get out of this town. And that's how they end the segment, basically. I found it entertaining. Okay. My one gripe is that it's just, again, asshole wrestling fan gripe. Becky Lynch's promo just sounds like if you've heard one, you've heard all their cadences and styles, because they're all the same. She's just like, I just want to fight. Come here and fight. Let me fight. Which is great, but maybe we can, develop that character a little bit if that's okay. I'm still a big Becky Lynch fan, just throwing some stuff out there, I enjoyed a line that Corey Graves said, is that he said something like, in my past I have enjoyed the women with a woman who has worn a mask, or something to that extent, alluding to how Carmella used to have that mask. So I'll give this a 3.5. Let's call it that. I'm feeling generous today with a 3.5. The deliveries of everything were great, and it advanced the feud. So both ends, everybody involved, all three of them, great fucking job. Again, a little complaint was that it was just very predictable how it was going to go down eventually. But hey, sometimes in wrestling, predictable is okay. So then after that, they show a recap of Brock and Cody from earlier. And I'm not going to lie, the WWE formula is very much still there. I was hoping it wouldn't be, but it's very much still there. And I guess it's okay to have familiarity, because this is what they were doing 2 or 3 years ago, just how it was mapped out, and that just irritated me. But hey, some things are made for me, some things aren't made for me. I get it. Anyways, after it shows the newest member of the Raw broadcast team, her name is Jackie Redmond. She's interviewing Cody, and Cody gets another entrance, only this time he's wearing a suit instead of his wrestling gear. And he says that he's a man of his word. Well, after he's like, hey, let's hear it for Jackie, and baby facing it up, shaking hands with everybody and so on. He says that he's a man of his word, and next time he saw Brock, he would fight Brock. He says he wants a match with Brock and will attack him every night until he gets it. And I'm going to be honest with you, I'm really biased. Even when people were shitting on Cody for just using big words, basic way of putting it, but you get what I mean. Even when people were shitting on him for that, I was still a big Cody Rhodes fan. So, I enjoyed Cody, where he's positioned and how he's portrayed right now. I enjoy, again, the baby face, whether it's a plant or not, how he grabbed a belt, signed it, and then threw the marker into the crowd for whatever reason. And, he came out high-fiving everybody and what have you. Just a great baby face, and I appreciate great baby faces in wrestling. Again, I'm biased. I know I said earlier, 4 stars has to be oh, so great, but it's that one thing keeping it from 5. But I'm just going to give this 4-star because it was a stellar promo, and I have 0 complaints with it. Also, I also wrote, Cody has a protective wall up from star damage on this list forever and ever. Alright, anyways, we go to commercial, and then we come back to where they do a promo for basically what happened at Money in the Bank, just overall. It's one of those hype things, and they put quotes from New York Times or Post or whatever. whatever magazines they have some form of like article related to Money in the Bank on, you know what I mean? After that, they show a replay of Logan Paul and Ricochet spot from Money in the Bank, and then apparently they had a brawl backstage, you know, a scripted brawl backstage. Then Ricochet had a pretty good interview how Logan Paul is good, but the kid disrespected him and he wants a match next week. It was short, simple, and to the point. I'll give it 3 stars. It wasn't offensive. I'll be honest, I just hate anyone who is a Paul brother, like either one of those two, so I can't give it anything great just because Paul's involved. After that, Rhea has her title match against Natalya, except she gets jumped by Natalya beforehand, which makes 0 sense because that's usually how title matches are thrown off, or they should be thrown off normally, but I guess, you know, some referees' discretion. I hate that bullshit excuse to break the rules. Alright, they have a pretty vicious, like, back and forth where they're both very stiff with each other. Rhea did this cool spot in the corner where she, like, vice gripped freaking Natalya, but it was like for 0.10 second all this was happening. She, like, vice gripped her and then headbutted her to down her. And shout out to Natalya for doing the Mick Foley punch spot that I love, where like you're throwing a punch or whatever, you're like I love that spot. So bonus points because I'm biased. Also, there's so many sequins in the ring, whether it's from like Natalya's gear or just in general. Rhea does Riptide to win and then beats Natalya down until the women's tag team champions come out to Natalya's aid. And I think when they did the sharpshooter spot, Rhea's mouth was bleeding, I think, but I couldn't really tell. So, again, normally this match would have been like 3 stars. Like, it was a pretty decent match. I liked it. Nothing offensive. Great wrestling. But just because of the Mick Foley spot, I'm giving it that little extra half. I love the Mick Foley spot. God dang it. More people need to go just while they're throwing punches. Alright, after the save, they go to and come back from commercial break. And when they're back, they highlight what happened at Money in the Bank again, with the men's tag team match this time, the Usos against Reign and Solo. Then commentary adds a little extra to it and plugs that on SmackDown, the Usos will have a tribal chief trial. I think that's what they called it, but that's why I'm labeling it. Honestly, that's not really a segment. They were just plugging something, so I'm not going to rank that. After that, Riddle comes out with an explosion of patriotic eagles this time, and he's going to be against Giovanni Kaiser, right? Giovanni, I think it's Giovanni Da Vinci. Hold on. Oh, it's not Da Vinci, dummy. It's Vinci. Giovanni Vinci. Alright, sorry about that. I changed my mic when I looked that up. Giovanni Vinci and Riddle are going to go against each other after this commercial break. Alright, we come back in the match. Psych! We come back with a conversation between Io and Rhea, where Io Sky says that she'll see Rhea around, and Rhea threatens her. The remainder of the Judgment Day, except for Finn, comes into shot after Io leaves, and Rhea's just pissed at Liv and Raquel. Why do I keep on doing that? Liv and Raquel. I think it's just a bit in my head at this point. I'm sorry, I apologize. But she's pissed at Liv and Raquel coming down and attacking her and sticking their nose in her business. And she said that they'll regret getting involved in her business again if they do. Dom says that Seth is going to regret getting in the ring with him later. And you know what? That's a mini seg, so I'll give it like 3 stars. It's alright. Yeah, honestly, it's just because the people involved. Otherwise, it would have been like 2 or 2.5 stars. Because it's your normal, like, I could cash in on you at any moment. Watch out, promo. And I just don't like those. Plus, it doesn't make any sense putting it prior to a men's match that doesn't involve the people talked about. Anyway, speaking of the match, how was Riddle versus Giovanni? Well, the match starts out with Kaiser pulling at Riddle's foot, and then Giovanni gets a sneak attack, and they have a short back and forth for a little bit until Riddle wins. It really is like a squash match, to be honest. Not due to the action, but just the time in it. It was under 2 minutes, I think. After the match, Riddle gets sneak attacked by Kaiser until Drew comes out for the save, and him and Riddle clean house on Imperium except for Gunther. Drew and Gunther have a stare down, Gunther's on the ropes and Drew's in the ring, until Drew's music plays, and we end the segment. I'll give it 3 stars. It wasn't offensive, short and simple, to the point. Had a beat down so the heels could get their heat back. Drew saves him, so that way it'll advance the story, plus also give Drew a babyface pop. After that, they show the Finn versus Seth match for Money in the Bank, and after that, 3 members of Judgment Day come out for Dom versus Seth. Hey, it's gonna happen after this commercial break. Alright, we come back from the commercial break, and just kidding, we came back for a, I guess, ad, I don't know how else to describe it, where Drew and Riddle say, hey, thanks for saving me, bro. Hey, not a problem, bro. Guess what? You want to team up next week to take on Imperium except for Gunther? Yeah, sure. Sounds good. But let's get some pints this week. All right, let's get some beer and some jimmies. So I guess they're having a tag team match next week, or I guess tonight. 3 stars either way. After that, Seth comes out, and it makes sense, I guess, why they placed that promo in before the match. So that way Seth could have his, oh, whoa, oh moment where, the whole crowd does it. And it doesn't get interrupted by ads or anything. They have a really good match, I think. It's your normal main event, takes up 30 minutes match. And it starts out with, Seth playing mind games with Dom. I think Dom goes for a grapple or something, and Seth dodges it and goes to the corner, and the crowd does the whoa thing. As much as I love doing that whoa thing, I'm not going to do it 3 times. 3 times in an episode. You get the point. It was a competitive match until the end, where Seth set up for the curb stomp, and Priest had left. Sorry, my tongue got caught. And Priest comes in to give him the south side of heaven, and which is automatic disqualification, which unless it makes sense, I hate disqualification in wrestling matches. It should be a thing of the past. No, I'm kidding. I'm not a big fan on the babyface has the advantage for 3/4 of the match, and then out of nowhere disqualification. But it kind of makes sense, and it makes sense in this one, so I won't deduct points for it. Plus, again, I'm biased with the members. Anyway, he then proceeds to beat the shit out of Seth, throughout the whole ringside, and he attempts to give him a razor's edge through the announce table, but Seth counters it and tries to powerbomb him, but Seth gets attacked by Dom, showing that Judgment Day has the numbers game advantage on him, and they take out Seth. Dom then tells Priest to cash it in, and Seth either got thrown into the ring or gets in the ring somehow. So Priest is making his way slowly to the ring until Finn runs down on the ramp and beats the shit out of Seth in the middle of the ring. In the process of beating up Seth, Seth was standing up and Finn was going for him, and he accidentally bumps Priest. So when Finn goes up for the coup de grace, Priest pulls him down onto the apron, and they have a back and forth being hey man, what the hell's going on? Why didn't you show up for that? Why did you just show up now? You're trying to cost me my moment. And they get have a back and forth with that. Meanwhile, Dom's just hey guys, hey, Seth just ran away, guys, Seth is getting away. So while they're arguing, Dom's just screw it, I'll take out Seth then. But Seth sees it coming, so he pedigrees him, and I guess somewhere in the process of all that, Dom realizes that Seth is up on the ramp, so he tries to get in the middle of the ring to run after Seth, but he can't. Then he goes to the outside of the ring to check on Dom, and Finn does the same, and then they get into it again. They get super into it to the point where Rhea's checking on Dom to make sure he's good, and she's finally just guys, stop it, it doesn't matter, screaming at him. But they're still doing it, just ignoring her. And the show ends with Seth on the ramp, holding up the title, injured style, and them arguing. Freaking 4 stars. 4.5. You know what? Yeah, 4 stars. 4 stars. I'll settle on that. It was an amazing way to end the show. Perfect way to show like Judgment Day's in peril right now, but Seth still has mildly an advantage. So I like what they're doing. Keep it going. I'm definitely going to tune in to Raw tonight. Who knows? I might upload it tomorrow. Might upload it a couple days. I don't know. But I do know that I appreciate you watching and listening to this like hour-long review. I'll see y'all theoretically Tuesday, so tomorrow, for the Raw review. So you all have a good night and sleep well. Sorry, that was weird. I'll see you guys. Bye.